2026 is finally here. I know, it's hard to believe. Throughout 2025, I've had some pretty good memories. It's a pretty solid year for me. Let's hope 2026 is even better. But today, I'm going to be showing you some of my best memories of 2025. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Alright, I have a lot to talk about in this video. For those who don't know, every year I post a recap video about certain events throughout the year. So, starting off in January, I went railfanning with my brand new phone, a Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. And here is my first railfanning video of 2025. I know, it's just a normal metro train, but later that evening, I would catch the CN Heritage unit for the EJ&E, number 3023. Now, I know it's a night run, but hey, I tried. Then on the 7th, I would go over to the Mannheim Metro Station in Franklin Park, Illinois. There wasn't much. Then somehow, in one day, I would catch this, and this. All of those with my friend Metro 222 Productions. Shout out to him. In mid-January, I would railfan the Oak Forest Metro Station a lot. Seems kinda cool, even though there's not much that goes by there. In late January, I would take a trip out to central northern Illinois to see a few freight trains and some Amtrak trains. And yeah, that was a pretty good trip. I ended up seeing some cool stuff. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up January. Let's see what the next month has to offer. Starting out the month with a railfanning trip to Dalton, it was kinda mid, there wasn't much. But 2 days later, I would go to the Museum of Science and Industry, and later that day, railfan in downtown Chicago. That was a pretty fun day. After railfanning at the Oak Forest Metro Station a few times, I would go to Pine Junction, my favorite railfanning spot. Later in the video, you'll see why Pine Junction is my favorite railfanning spot. Then on the 24th, I would go to the Western Avenue Metro Station in Chicago, Illinois. It's a very busy station too, so I'm not surprised at how much cool action I saw. To wrap up February, I would railfan at the LaGrange Metro Station with a few of my friends. There wasn't much to see that day, but hey, I wasn't done for the year. The month of March starts with another trip to Pine Junction. I know, just wait, I'll be going to Pine Junction a lot this year. Then for some reason I decided to test my luck and go to Orland Park for some reason, and it actually paid off. I saw this, somehow. Word on the street is they're being put in storage for further notice, so, yeah, we'll just wait and see what happens to them. You know what? I'm starting to like the Joliet station more and more. It's becoming a better spot to watch trains nowadays. Yep, another trip to downtown Chicago to railfan. First to Ogilvy Transportation Center, and then by going up a parking garage, I was able to enjoy this amazing view. This spot definitely takes the cake when railfanning in Chicago. I definitely recommend going here sometime. A railfanning trip to Blue Island for some reason, and then I would go to a railfan meetup at Western Avenue. Finishing off March, I would take some photos of this crazy storm that hit Chicago. I'm just now realizing how crazy these storms look. Anyway, next month. Starting out the month of April with a trip to Western Springs, Illinois, where I would see Amtrak 203. It's pretty cool. Also, in this month, I saw some pretty random things, so let me show you. Here's a rabbit. Here's a candy bar made to look like a crossing sign. Here's a perfect curly fry. Here's a goose. Here's a pothole. Here's a sunset. Here's a truck owner with too much free time. And this is a duck. On April 12th, I would go to Dalton, Illinois and see Union Pacific 1996. It was a pretty good surprise. On the 16th of April, I went to Blue Island and was yet again pleasantly surprised to see this, and this. Another pretty fun day to go railfanning. On the 18th, I would go to Elmhurst, Illinois with quite a meetup and see Metro 120 4 times. And some Union Pacific trains, that's always really cool to see. On Easter Sunday, I would go to Dolton, Illinois and Harvey, Illinois to see this. I don't know how an NS Heritage unit gets on CN trackage, but I'm happy with it. To finish off April, a trip to LaGrange had me seeing this, that's way too many locomotives, this, and finally Amtrak 160, a nice surprise. April was a great month for railfanning. Hopefully the next month will be even better. Let's see. The month of May started out great. I went to Pine Junction and saw some awesome trains, and I also met up with some friends. Gotta love Pine Junction. Then a few days later, something crazy happened. I captured a tree falling over on camera right here. And don't worry, the house was fine, they just had some minor damage. To show you, here's the aftermath. That was a close call too, because if it fell a few feet to the left, it would have been way worse. On May 16th, I noticed something weird in the atmosphere. Look at the horizon. Something was going on. It looked like a giant dust cloud was heading pretty close. And it actually was just that. It was a giant dust cloud. It was really windy that day too, so no wonder there's a lot of dust in the air. But that night, something would happen that would change everything. You see this photo right here? I took this photo on May 17th, 2025. This is a hospital. I know what you're thinking. What happened? Well, my mom almost died. She's fine now, thankfully, but it was a long, hard recovery process. On a better note, the hospital was right next to the Metro Southwest service, so I did get to railfan there a few times, and that was pretty fun. Then on May 31st, I would go to LaGrange, Illinois for another railfan meetup. I think going outside to railfan definitely lifted my spirits after the tragedy that happened. I wonder what the next month's gonna be like. Starting out the month of June, I caught this heritage unit in Matson, Illinois. I gotta say, it's great when other railfans are helping you out catching these things. I would railfan some locations casually for the next couple of days, and then I would get a new photo camera. I didn't use it much in 2025, but it was fun to try it out. I mean, these photos from Blue Island are not too bad. Okay, so you know the camcorder that I used to take videos with back in 2023 and 2024? Well, on July 11th, 2025, I thought it would be a great idea to take it to Chicago and film some trains with it. Which was a huge mistake because it ended up getting stolen. It just completely disappeared after a few trains. But don't worry, I would eventually get something that I've been waiting for a long time. After that mishap, I would go to the Franklin Park Railroad Days event, where I was actually able to go inside of Metro 120, which you all know is my favorite Metro locomotive, so I was pretty happy about that. The day after, I would go to Pine Junction, again, and see this. If you go to Pine Junction, you get good stuff. It's inevitable. On June 21st, I would go to Western Springs, Illinois. That was kind of a mid-trip. But then on June 26th, 2025, I would go to Joliet, Illinois once again. And unexpectedly, I ended up seeing a KCS Gray Ghost on a BNSF intermodal train. I don't know how that happens. And later that day, I would also see this, and this really cool sunset. Like, this looks really cool. The day after that, I would see something insane on the Rock Island Metro line. A CSX Heritage unit, which almost never happens. And following that train, this just showed up out of nowhere. Awesome day for real. The month of July wouldn't be right if it didn't start off with a bang, literally. But before July 4th, of course I would go to Pine Junction once again. That location never disappoints. Later on July 7th, I was somehow able to catch this train. Great catch again. July 10th, I went to Dolton, Illinois. July 14th, I ventured out to Chicago Heights. July 21st, I had a packed day at Joliet. And on July 23rd, this just randomly showed up. Okay, I'm not done yet. Just hold tight. I'll go railfanning a lot this month. On July 27th, I went to Flossmoor and Homewood in the same day. Nice. On July 29th, these were the highlights of that day. July 30th and 31st, I went to Blue Island and saw this. Okay, for those who don't know, this specific locomotive has been out of service since 2023, but it finally got back on the rails and I was able to catch it here. Whew, what a vibe August was. Early in the month, I went to Berwyn, Illinois, and was able to see this awesome Amtrak train. By now, you're probably thinking about how easy it is to catch heritage units in special trains, but truthfully, it's very difficult. I'll explain how in a future video. Back to 2025, on August 9th, I had a great time at the annual Diesel Days event at the Illinois Railway Museum. I actually got a cab tour of Metro 614. That was fun. That same day when it was over, a storm came through. And of course, on August 16th, another thunderstorm brought large amounts of rain and tons of lightning. Yeah, that was fun. On August 21st, for like the 6th time, I went to Pine Junction. Again, it's always a fun experience going to Pine Junction, even if you've been there like 10 times already. The last week of August was packed with trains, so here are the highlights. On September 1st, I went to Ogden Dunes in Indiana. This location is a lot like Pine Junction, but with less trains. But hey, it's still a good location. On September 6th, I went to Brookfield, Illinois. The only good railfanning catch was this Amtrak train with an FRA inspection car on it. That's pretty cool. Then, one of the best catches of 2025 just showed up at Blue Island on September 8th, an entire year after the Big Boy 4014 event. Like, how does something like that happen? You can't make this up. I don't know why, but for some reason I took an 11-day break from railfanning, and then on September 19th I went to Whiting, Indiana, and saw this. Oh yeah, and this. It was a pretty packed day, and I had fun. The NS Chicago line is full of awesome trains. The day after that, I would go to Madison, Illinois, and see CN 8952 with some friends. And to finish off September, I would go to downtown Chicago for some passenger train action, and again, it did not disappoint. October started out with the BNSF office car train rolling through Blue Island. On October 6th, I ventured out to Joliet and of course enjoyed my time there. October 11th, I had to railfan at, yet again, Pine Junction, where I would catch this train, this Montana Rail Link, and way more. I'm telling you, Pine Junction never, and I mean never, disappoints. On October 16th, huge level up! My dad was able to get me a Canon G70 camcorder. The video quality is definitely better than my phone in my opinion. Not only the new video camera, but my dad was also able to acquire a drone. I gotta say, Dad, thank you. For my birthday bash on October 19th and 20th, my family and I traveled to Galesburg and had one of the best railfan trips of 2025. There are so many opportunities and unique trains to see there. Galesburg should be on every railfan's bucket list. And October 25th was a trip to Ogden Dunes. I didn't see many trains that day, but the year was not over yet. Starting the month of November, I was able to railfan at Homewood, Illinois and catch CN 8952. On November 6th, I went out to Blue Island to catch some Metro trains, and I ended up seeing this maintenance machine and a sun halo. On November 10th, yet again, I went to Joliet, Illinois. Somehow I ended up seeing Metro 120, even though it hasn't been to Joliet since March 2025. The next night, Aurora Borealis. On the 14th, I was railfanning in Hammond, Indiana, and just so happened to see this, and this General Electric demo unit. I don't plan this, they just show up somehow. November 19th, a CSX Heritage unit on the Rock Island. November 22nd, I went down to Matson to see some CN trains, and the day after was the CPKC holiday event. Fun to meet up with some more friends. And to finish off November on the 28th, you guessed it, Pine Junction. Amtrak Heritage Duo, CSX Special Interest Unit, CSX YN2 Duo, simulator-looking BNSF consist, and a CSX Heritage Unit all in one day. That was an awesome month in my opinion. The last month of the year started off with an all-day railfanning trip to Chicago Heights, Blue Island, Flossmoor, Homewood, and Riverdale. That was probably one of my most active trips yet. I loved it. December 9th, I caught a few trains in Dalton, Illinois, And finally, the last venture of 2025, I went to Chicago on December 17th. If you aren't familiar, downtown Chicago has limited yet constant passenger trains throughout the city limits. I didn't railfan much the end of the year, I was mostly enjoying Christmas with my family. And that marks the end of 2025.